The Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics have partnered to assess the true impact of the maritime sector on Nigeria's economy. We'll explore this strategic collaboration today. Another milestone in Nigeria's non-oil sector development is the establishment of inland dry ports across major cities. The Nigerian Shippers Council, led by Barrister Pius Akutah, is driving this initiative in collaboration with key maritime stakeholders. During his northwestern tour, the Executive Secretary visited the Kaduna inland dry ports to inspect progress. We'll also cover his engagement with the African Continental Free Trade Area in Abuja after this break.
For more than 5 decades, we have empowered and protected the interests of shippers in the nation's maritime industry. Our focus is to facilitate trade, regulate tariffs and rates, as well as handle shippers' complaints on cargo losses, damage and non-delivery. We offer dispute resolution mechanism for shipping and trade disputes between shippers and service providers. We are Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigeria's port economic regulator, your gateway to a thriving maritime sector. Nigerian Shippers Council will meet you at the port of your need.
Welcome back to The Shipper, brought to you by the Nigerian Shippers Council, the nation's port economic regulator. My name is Abike Ido. Nigeria's dependence on oil as a major source of revenue over the years has continued to generate concern among operators of both the public and private sectors of the economy. But Barrister Pius Akutah, through various visitations, seminars and partnerships with key stakeholders, is working diligently to position the maritime industry as a top revenue earner, one that could potentially rival and even surpass the crude oil sector. Now, let's delve into these reports put together by our correspondents, showcasing the Council's ongoing initiatives. The core of earning is embedded in the facilitation of trade from various angles. In a bid to achieve this, Barrister Pius Akutah, Executive Secretary, Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Shippers Council, recently visited the National Coordinator of the African Continental Free Trade Area Afcta in Abuja. During the visit, he emphasized the crucial role of trade in national economic development and highlighted Nigeria's significant involvement in negotiating the Afcta agreement. Akutah discussed Nigeria's contributions to the agreement's objectives, outlined existing challenges, and detailed the NSC's efforts to address them. He further described the Afcta as a crucial tool that would facilitate collaboration among African nations and enhance ease of doing business across the continent.
We have to develop all critical infrastructures, especially even in the transport logistics that you talk about, to be able to encourage the movement of goods and services. So we are also looking at the issue of tariffs. We are setting up guidelines for tariffs and stakeholders' standards operating procedure in the sector. Recently, we have negotiated with the Maritime Workers Union and the shipping companies and terminal operators the minimum standards for entry and exit for maritime workers, which has been a challenge for so many years. That has been put to rest. This will certainly reduce the amount of friction and the number of times that people will have to go on industrial action in the sector for poor remunerations and packaging.
Mr. Olusegun Awolowo, National Coordinator of the African Continental Free Trade Area Afcta Nigerian office, emphasized the need for Nigeria to position itself strategically to fully benefit from the Afcta. He stressed that overcoming all bottlenecks in the export trade business is crucial for achieving this goal. Awolowo also commended the Nigerian Shippers Council for its commendable efforts in prioritizing the growth of the nation's economy through trade facilitation and regulatory duties.
The creation of the dedicated export line aimed at enhancing trade facilitation. This is a commendable step that the Council is doing, but we emphasize the need for continued efforts to further streamline port operations to reduce bottlenecks that hinder trade efficiency. Apart from regulatory duties, trade facilitation is extremely important because that's the only way we can really benefit even for trade agreements such as this. I always told the customs that yes, you are collecting revenue, but aside from that, trade facilitation, you find out that it's going to be more important and more revenue will come in from the country. We want to propose a partnership to intensify port sensitization and awareness on the Afcta. So we must highlight the importance of ensuring that all the stakeholders are well informed about the opportunities and the requirements under the agreement, the Afcta agreement.
The Northwestern region has been in focus as the Executive Secretary, Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Shippers Council, Barrister Pius Akutah, has been on tour there. Kaduna played host to him as he visited stakeholders, port office and the inland dry ports. At the meeting with members of the Kaduna Shippers Association, Mr. Augustine Achilike, the association's president, raised issues, particularly on operational challenges the association members faced in the operation of the Kaduna inland dry ports. He also emphasized the pivotal role railways play in the effective operations of an inland dry port, which he called its lifeline.
Because of the burden of a lot of agencies involved in exports, we have been trying to see if Council will help us, just like it's done in other parts of the world, where you have a one-bus stop for exports, so that when you want to export, you are not going to be seeing NDLEA, NAFDAC, this and that, so separately. So it brings us a lot of clock under our wheel for us to export.
Responding, Barrister Akutah urged state governments to take proactive approaches in improving local infrastructure and enforcing laid-down regulations.
It's very important for us to pay attention to the rail transport in terms of moving cargo. And the benefits of the MOU that we have signed with the Nigerian Railway Corporation are also enormous. We have agreed that we will begin to push for policies that we enhance the more expansion of the rail system as a major #1 means of cargo movement from seaport to hinterland.
He also spoke about the inefficiencies caused by lack of innovation, which has detrimental effects on shippers. The less cargo is handled physically, the less the costs.
A week plus ago, myself and the MD of the Nigerian Railway Corporation signed an MOU, and I say that MOU has a lot of benefits in it, which we continue to promote the use of rail system as the best efficient and most effective and cheaper means of transportation of cargo from the hinterlands to the seaport. So that is ongoing, and I also did say that government is also talking. There are talks ongoing about the use of the old light gauge to see if it can be repaired, so that in the meantime it can be dedicated to cargo movement alone. So rail system, yes, we know that it is important, it is crucial, but you also know that it is very expensive to build a rail line. But government is working in that direction to see how we can improve on what has been on ground already.
The Assistant Director and Head of Kaduna Port Office, Mr. Danjuma Buba, gave the Council's Executive Secretary a very warm welcome. After providing a brief history of the office and highlighting its functions, Mr. Buba also enumerated their challenges, topmost being the unavailability of a functional railway, even though the port has been consistently averaging the movement of 300 containers monthly over the past 3 years.
In the few years, considering the volume of the throughput of cargo between 2018 to 2022, the port was able to handle up to 23,935 TEUs of import traffic, import throughput cargoes in the Kaduna inland dry ports, even though the export was very minimal due to the challenges that is presently prevailing in our nation today.
The Kaduna Inland Dry Port was the next logical point of call. Mr. Omotayo Philip Dada, the management team leader, expressed concerns about the port operating as a bonded terminal rather than a full-fledged inland dry port. He highlighted the complications arising from multiple documentation processes, which contributes to delays and increased costs.
As of today, Kaduna Inland Dry Port stands on 5 hectares of land with warehouse capacity of 4,000 square meters. We have cold room, we have a laboratory. Simply to put it, sir, we are ready to work. This port on its own is economics of scale as it is. It won't just drive trade activities into Kaduna, but it will help drive trade activities into the entire north. And we're privileged to be the first dry port in Nigeria.
In an interview, Mr. Omotayo Dada sheds light on the port's unique offerings, the challenges it faces, and the steps being taken to enhance its operational efficiency.
There's a new era coming, it's a new disposition. We've been enjoying a lot of support from the government and from regulatory agents to help our business grow. But this visit in August, an August visit, also shows that there's some form of alignment in terms of the thoughts from our regulators and in terms of our business to push our business forward. The truth about the matter is this: the port has the capacity to do so much more than it is doing right now. With the support that we're getting from Nigerian Shippers Council and from this visit and the conversations that have been had, it is without a doubt that there's a whole lot of good things to come.
Mrs. Abigail Odetunde King, head of operations at the Kaduna Inland Dry Port, identified the incomplete access roads, a state government's responsibility, as a major issue hampering the ease of doing business at the port.
Consignments. The container is coming to dry port, but they put holes. So we face a lot of challenges in removing this hole with regulatory agencies. And also with the shipping lines. We have consignment destined to Kaduna Dry Port, but from the port of origin, this consignment will be transferred to bonded terminal. It's not supposed to be done.
In response to these challenges, Barrister Akutah encouraged the Kaduna Inland Dry Port team to enhance the visibility of their services by reaching out more actively to relevant stakeholders. He also reaffirmed the Council's commitment to addressing these issues through both infrastructural improvements and operational efficiency. He assured that the ongoing legislative efforts and planned upgrades are designed to significantly improve the port's performance and its competitive standing in the global trade arena.
This is one major transport infrastructure that is intended to bring the shipping facilities closer to shippers in the hinterland. And I'm also glad to hear of the achievements you have recorded so far in the last 6 years of your operations. I and my team, we are delighted to be in this your facility today as part of our commitment to ensuring that the work you do here is adding value to the transport system for international trade.
In an interview, Barrister Pius Akutah, Executive Secretary CEO of the Council, highlighted that the constraints faced by the Kaduna Inland Dry Ports are largely due to the existing Bill of Lading Law, specifically the carriage of goods by land bill, which is currently under review in the House of Representatives. He acknowledged the issues caused by multiple documentation processes, which results in delays and increased cost for the ports.
The major issue that I can take away from here is that the port is not operating optimally due to some little challenges that we need to fix them. One of them is the legal regime for liability, which is the law is pending before the National Assembly. We need to fast track that. And it is the directive of the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy that we should quickly work around all the issues that are preventing these infrastructures from achieving their optimal objectives so that we can see how they begin to function in that light.
It is clear that that the Nigerian Shippers Council, under the leadership of the Executive Secretary, is poised for a transformative impact on the nation's maritime sector. Through his thorough and proactive approach, a significant turnaround is on the horizon. Rest assured, the shipper will be at the forefront, documenting and reporting these pivotal developments. Let's now turn our attention to the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, where significant developments are unfolding. The Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, has affirmed the ministry's commitment to advancing the Badagry Deep Sea Port project, which holds significant potentials for Nigeria's economic and maritime growth. During a meeting with Badagry Ports Development Limited, Chief Operating Officer Didi Indiomu, Oyetola emphasized that the project aligns with President Tinubu's development agenda. The Chief Operating Officer of Badagry Deep Sea Ports outlined the project's current phase, stressing the importance of securing financial partners. He also highlighted Badagry's natural port advantages and urged the government to strengthen investor confidence during these challenging economic times.
Presently, we are at phase 2, sourcing of the financial and operational partners for the project. We can give many examples of ports where people try to go it alone and fail. And as they say, best to learn from the mistakes of others than to learn from your own. We don't own shipping lines in Nigeria, so you must lean towards them in some way, shape or form for them to be able, for your ports to make sense.
The ministry will collaborate with both local and international investors to bring the project to fruition, boosting investor confidence and strengthening Nigeria's maritime infrastructure. In another development, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, welcomed a delegation from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, NBS, led by Statistician General Mr. Samuel Adeniran. The minister praised the NBS for its efforts, highlighting the needs for precise mapping of assets and resources to drive Nigeria's blue economy forward.
We can't do any serious plan. We don't have to create that accurate. So we don't have to think twice. We have a problem with that. So plan. Don't plan, you can't do anything. Whoever does not plan is likely to plan to fail. So I must commend you for this
Statistician General Mr. Samuel Adeniran discussed the significance of accurate data collection and analysis in driving Nigeria's economic development. He highlighted ongoing efforts to reassess Nigeria's GDP, emphasizing the importance of capturing the maritime sector's true impact on the economy through enhanced collaboration between the MBS and the ministry.
Currently undertaking this very crucial exercise. This is an exercise that is done every 5 years conventionally. But because of resources, infrastructure, and a lot of data required to do this in development country and Nigeria, we are usually not able to do it every 5 years. We have been working and collaborating with other ministries, especially the new ministries that are not well covered in the previous round of the basin. And presently, we also recognize all the roles, all the innovation that you are bringing into this sector. All the agencies under your supervision are performing well, and we can see it from news, what has been happening in recent times since you came on board. So all these activities are things that as national growth services we need to capture properly.
And that wraps up our coverage from the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy for now. Stay tuned for more insights in our future episodes. Now, let's dive into local stories from Nigerian Shippers Council in our Tidbit segment. The Nigerian Shippers Council reaffirms its commitment to enhancing security around the Apapa ports through continuous collaboration with the Arakan military cantonment. During a visit by the military to the NSC's headquarters, Executive Secretary Barrister Pius Akutah praised the military's efforts in maintaining a secure trade environment in Apapa and expressed eagerness to strengthen their partnership further.
The presence of the military amongst us here is very strategic in terms of the security of our property and our lives in this area. Apapa happens to be a very unique place where there are so many government installations and infrastructure that support international trade and commerce coming into the country. So it's a location where government will not take things lightly here at all in terms of firming up the security of lives and properties around here. So we are glad that you are our neighbors, and more so that your leadership has found it fit to extend this hand of fellowship to us. In my language, there's an adage that says you have to get close to the seller during dry season so that when it is rainy season, he will help you to cross over the other side. So I agree with you absolutely that we need to know ourselves and interact. And when the military is extending a hand of fellowship to you, then you know that it is a reformed military that cares so much about the people.
In response, Colonel Olusegun Opeyemi, commander of the Arakan Military Cantonment, emphasized the military's readiness to support the Nigerian Shippers Council in safeguarding lives and property, particularly during periods of law and order breakdown.
In terms of security and safety and safeguarding of lives and property, we work closely with the police and other security agencies to ensure the safety of those in the community, as well as key points and vulnerable points. Should in case there's a breakdown of law and order, if the police is unable to contain this situation, the military is often invited to support and aid civil authority to maintain law and order.
Eight complaints were received, 3 have been resolved, and 5 are ongoing investigations. They include stolen container, terminal charges, cargo detention, export scam, damaged cargo, and delayed terminal delivery order. Now, here's an update for all shipping lines and agents from the Nigerian Shippers Council. As of now, shipping lines are required to cover the cost of container fumigation for exports, while exporters will be responsible for the disinfestation of agricultural products. This policy remains in effect until further notice. Let's now shift our focus to international developments. In our global segment, we'll bring you latest updates from the maritime industry across the world. Maersk has opened the largest logistic park in the Middle East of Jeddah Islamic Port, Saudi Arabia. The $250 million, 225,000 square meter facility offers integrated logistics services, including multimodal connectivity and temperature-controlled warehousing, catering to industries like FMCG, automotive, and pharmaceuticals. Argentine authorities quarantined a Liberian-flagged bulk carrier in the Panama River after an Indian crew member showed mpox symptoms, including cyst-like lesions on the chest and face. The ship, en route to San Lorenzo port, is anchored near Rosario, while the affected crew member remains isolated on board. And that's it on Tidbits for this week.
For more than 5 decades, we have empowered and protected the interests of shippers in the nation's maritime industry. Our focus is to facilitate trade, regulate tariffs and rates, as well as handle shippers' complaints on cargo losses, damage and non-delivery. We offer dispute resolution mechanism for shipping and trade disputes between shippers and service providers. We are Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigeria's port economic regulator, your gateway to a thriving maritime sector. Nigerian Shippers Council will meet you at the port of your need.
As we drop anchor on today's informative and enlightening program, we want to leave you with this important update. The Nigerian Shippers Council is on track to implement a paperless initiative aimed at optimizing operations and enhancing convenience for all stakeholders. Until next time, we wish you clear skies, calm waters, and fair winds in the week ahead. Goodbye.